All right, morning, everybody. This is a little follow-up with some additional information that I hope will help anyone else not run into the massive clusterfuck that I did. So I purchased the IAG. There it is down there. IAG unequal length headers for my 2007 Subaru Forester XT. The instructions on IAG's website were very simplistic. Basically unbolt your old one, install our new one, easy peasy lemon squeezy, take it for a drive. They did have some footnotes about certain models, WRX, STI, that would need two things. The horseshoe or the U-shaped subframe reinforcement needed modification, and you would need if you had WRX between certain years, you would need the STI oil cooler. No mention of Forester at all. So I assumed that when I bought this header, they would have done their due diligence, and they didn't mention Forester because for whatever reason, the Forester XT, didn't need those modifications. So when going to put the header on, quickly realized it was not going to fit. The Forester oil cooler has a adapter plate. Some of you watching this will probably know. It kind of sits at an angle. Also, the oil cooler itself has like a little metal nub that comes off one of the pipes. All of that combined, there was not enough clearance for the new headers. Also, on the subframe, the horseshoe reinforcement, there is a little additional piece of metal, which I will try to show you, which I'm assuming needs to be removed. I did contact IAG back and forth a few times, asking questions, why wasn't the Forester mentioned? They were very responsive. Basically, they said, WRX, STI, Forester XT share the same chassis, so that piece needs to be modified, and Forester XT also needs the STI intercooler. But none of that was actually mentioned. They didn't mention Forester XT. I do think they did say in the emails that they would be adding additional notes into the instructions. I would have hoped, they've had this product for quite a long time. This car at this point is quite old. You would have hoped that in the past, 20 years or whatever it's been, somebody else would have put this on and had some confusion with the instructions, but maybe I'm just the lucky one, I guess. Anyway, so today, with any luck, we're going to get this thing installed finally. So I had to order the STI oil cooler from Japan because it was half the cost of one from the US, the same part from the US. Also, which IAG did not mention, but I'm assuming is correct, the part numbers for the STI oil cooler nut and like the bolt that goes up through the oil cooler, up through the middle of it to actually bolt it into the block, it's a different part number. And the two hoses that come off the oil cooler are also a different part number. So I had mentioned that to IAG, that maybe when they update their instructions to, do everyone a solid and maybe include the OEM part numbers for those additional parts, which I'm assuming you're going to need. I could be wrong, but I think I'm pretty on base with that. Also, they didn't mention. I mean, I posed the question to them, and they responded about the sandwich plate clearly needs to be removed as well from the XT. So you're gonna take that whole sandwich plate that's kind of on an angle off with the XT oil cooler, and then you're just gonna bolt with the new bolt, which I'm assuming is probably shorter, directly to the block, and then put your new pipes on and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a mess. I'm gonna try to do this without like blowing a bunch of coolant everywhere. It's just the original install on IAG's website is like a page and a half, and this is not a page and a half install. So anyway, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna crawl under there, get some painter's tape and pen and a light, and I guess the first thing is we're gonna cut that additional piece off. All right, so this lip, I'm assuming, is what needs to come off. I'm not sure how much. Again, IAG didn't provide, any like a photo of this with maybe just some red indications of where to cut off would be super helpful. I think just for, we'll take off a little bit. So I'll probably do from here, maybe up to this weld point right here. So we'll take off this piece, and then up here with the oil cooler. And it also sucks because I literally just changed my oil, with a new, black filter, which are not easy to get, or, and they are expensive. So hopefully that'll seal back up. Anyway. But I'm going to take this off. I'm going to probably grab a couple old spark plugs, pop these off, shove the spark plug in it, and clamp it down. Hopefully it doesn't fucking leak coolant everywhere. And then, get the bolt out for this, and then get the bolts out for the sandwich plate, and then get the new one back on. So that's what we're gonna do. All right. So you can see I notched out maybe like 2.5 inches up to there's a weld spot right where that tape ends. So that's where I started with that. The bolt for the oil cooler is a 23. Let me see. I'm sorry, 24. It's a 24 millimeter. It also does appear shorter, so you definitely need it. I will provide the part number. The bolts here for this adapter plate are 10 millimeter, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. You can also see that all my coolant's draining out. So I'm trying to catch it. My coolant's relatively new. So I'm trying to catch as much as I can, but unfortunately there is probably oil dripping into it. So yeah, I may end up just using some new stuff anyway. Anyway, we're going to take these out, and that should allow us to bolt the new oil cooler directly up to the block here. Alrighty, so part number for the STI oil cooler connector bolt 21317 alpha alpha 022. The oil cooler itself, part number 12311 alpha alpha 051. The hoses looks like they put an additional sticker over top of it. Starts with an 8. Hold on a second. So yeah, so it looks like it's 807 611031. 807611031. Yeah, hose. They put a barcode on top of it, so I can't read it, but that's what it is. There's two of them, identical. Your sandwich plate on the XT is actually two sandwich plates. This one's going to come off first with your 10 millimeters. This one's still going to be left on the block. This one is held in with this little happy bastard, and this one is a 21 millimeter. Once you get those out, you are left with simply that. Just a normal, part of the block. So we're gonna get this in with the new cooler, the hoses. Hopefully my coolant will stop leaking, and I'll have to check torque spec. I'll have to look that up. So new cooler does also come with the, let me get it out here. New cooler comes with the O-ring. Yeah, and as you can see, that pipe and that pipe, they don't have this little extra piece, a little extra goodness over there. So, all right, let's get this on. Alrighty, there we go. So the STI one, as you probably imagine, seems to be a little bit bigger. The bolt, the torque spec is 39.8, so, let's say 40. I would get it screwed in, leave it loose, and then, that gives you, because you gotta maneuver it to get those tubes on, and in the right spot. So that's the general orientation of it. But I would leave it, put your clamps on. I got like 3 original clamps and then just a regular worm clamp up there in the corner. But I left the assembly loose so I could wiggle it around to get the tubes in and on, and then I clamped on. So I'm gonna torque that bolt up. Torque the bolt up. I'm gonna leave the oil filter off for now, and then I'm gonna try to fit this bastard and see if I don't have to cut any more of that away. So. Okay, So after some more cutting, it looks like the optimal amount to cut off is up to this indent right past the first big hole right here. Cut right about there. I cut most of it off and then I hammered it flat. I'm gonna put some rust inhibitor on there, maybe scrape this off and coat it since I'm over here. But then it seemed like everything cleared. Frickin' hallelujah. Definitely not a quick job. Just FYI.